How you doing, everybody? It's Monday the 15th of March 2010 and it's around lunchtime, and I just want to deal with a couple of things if I could. Two of the things are little continuums of what we've been dealing with to do with the church, and I know I've been going on about the church recently a lot, but anyway, and the final thing then is an economic matter, and it's to do with us and the rest of Europe, okay? Ireland and the rest of Europe. And I didn't really intend doing this thing about the church today, but I had a brief conversation with people from the west of Ireland over the weekend. There's a couple, very nice couple, and the man is a churchgoer, but the woman is not. And what brought this up was as follows. We had a brief conversation with the man, very intelligent man. So it came up in conversation about what was going on in the church at the present moment, and I didn't want to be offensive or anything, but I asked the man, I asked both of them, what did they think of their priest, their local priest? And they said, oh, lovely fella, grand fella. I said, yeah. I said, do you think he's an Irishman? He said, what do you mean? Of course he's an Irishman. I said, I know he's born in Ireland and all that, but I said, do you think he owes his allegiance to Ireland? Do you think he owes his allegiance like to our state? Like, we all owe our allegiance to our state. We pay taxes and we abide by the laws and all of that, and that's our first priority. It should be anyway. As citizens like of the Republic. Do you think he's that way? Do you think like his primary allegiance is to our country and its laws and its everything, and the infrastructure of our country? I don't know what you're coming from. I said, do you not understand? He owes his allegiance to an Italian state called the Vatican. He's employed by a bishop, a man who's called a bishop, and that bishop is in the direct employ of the Pope. That bishop is appointed directly by the Pope. That bishop cannot do dick except the Pope gives him the okay. Now, so anyway, that was basically the outcome of it. The outcome of it was, I don't think anybody ever opposed him that. So I said, have a chat with your neighbours and have a chat with the priest and ask him, who does he owe his primary allegiance to? And you will find they're all the same. They're firstly governed by canon law, by Vatican law, church law, because that's who pays their wages. Who pays their wages? The church pays their wages. I know the church gets the money from the state, but they don't see it that way. They're in the employ of the church, and their bishop is employed directly by the Pope. So anyway, I then went on to talk to him about this thing that I'd found, because several people asked me about it and I found it on the internet. So I put a link up to it, and it's this document, which was a revamped version of it, was issued by the present day Pope Ratzinger when he was in charge of the Inquisition. Okay, it's about 10 or 12 years ago, and it's called CRIMEN SOLICITATIONIS, and it means solicited crimes. That's what it means. But what this was to do was, this was to cover another thing, which was to do with priests soliciting people who are going into confessionals. But they put an addendum on it to cover the child sex abuse scandal. And basically what it says is said in this particular thing, and I put the link up to it, you can read it. It's not in Italian, there's loads of them in Italian, or sorry, not in Italian, in Latin. Well, I've had to get the English translation of it, so you'll see it's an official document. It was issued originally in 1962, alright? And it tells you everybody has to be sworn to secrecy, because the church cannot be affected by what's going on. That's essentially what it is. In other words, the church proper, not the church ordinary, which is the people. They don't give a shit about church ordinary. They're only concerned about the church proper. But temporal power, that cannot be affected by what's going on. So you'll see everybody sworn to secrecy, including the people that have the abuse given out to them. So the whole thing's just up the left, and priests and everything else are all sworn to secrecy, and they're sworn to secrecy under the direct authority of this is a papal dictat. This is a papal dictat been issued. In other words, if they go to the state while the church investigation's going on, or when it's finalised, they'll be excommunicated directly by the Pope. It's unbelievable stuff. I tell you, it's unbelievable stuff. It's truly unbelievable. Anyway, so you have to have a read of that. It's just truly incredible. So, and the next article I want to put up is about Brady, and it's out of today's. I put a scan of it up, so I'm going to put that up now. And you can see it. I can't put links up to this Daily Mail. They don't have direct links to it, so I'll just scan it and put it up. Have a look at it. I think it's a good article. Gives you an insight into what he was about with this Brendan Smith, this monster Smith, and how he was involved in that cover up with these couple of boys that were interfered with or were sexually abused by the Smith man. Unbelievable stuff. Anyway, so that's me finally finished with the church for the time being. Anyway, all right. It's all fairly self-explanatory. They're only interested in one thing: temporal power, self-preservation of the church. All right, the Vatican. All right. So the final thing I want to deal with is an article which took me a bit of time to find. A couple of people emailed me about what was our relationship with all the other countries in Europe. Like, we're involved in Europe, and they've given us money, but had we given them money? And that took a bit of time. And I'm very grateful to a man called EDMUND Conway, and he's a right-wing economist from the Daily Telegraph. Now, I would never even look at what Mr. Conway has to say, but he did this article, and in the middle of this article is this wonderful chart. So I'm going to put a scan of the chart up now. When you go down, you obviously go down and have to find Ireland, okay? So it's very self-explanatory, this chart. It tells you in terms of in percentage of our GDP. You must remember this year our GDP is going to be around about 168 billion, okay? So that tells you how much money we have loaned out to these countries, all right? And you can see we've loaned out 3% to Greece. Obviously we have no exposure to Ireland. That's our own country. We've loaned 17% of our GDP to Italy. We loaned 2% to Portugal, we've loaned 12% to Spain, and that amounts to 34%. So of all the countries that are listed there on the left hand column, we are by far the biggest. So our exposure to the PIIGS, the other PIIG countries, is the greatest. Okay, and then you can see that in Eastern Europe we've loaned out 11%, and you see the totals when you add the two of them together, 6 and 7, columns 6 and 7 together. We're only second to Austria, and Austria has massive exposure to Eastern Europe, but we're still the biggest exposed to the PIIG countries. So it's just, again, it's an extraordinary situation, and I mean, I think if you dreamt this up, you couldn't, you couldn't write it in a novel. You couldn't. I mean, it's bizarre. That's the only way to describe it. It's totally and utterly bizarre. Yeah, you're back with me again, unfortunately. I just want to finish off. That little chart and that little article, I've put the link up there, you can have a read. I think they're definitely worth, wherever they are, so maybe they're down here somewhere, the links. I think they're definitely worth looking at. Listen, the whole thing, it's a sad reflection on the economists that are directly involved in making major decisions within this country. It's a sad, sad reflection. We borrowed all this money, we gambled a load of it on houses, and we give another big massive dunt of it to all these pigs, and the chances of getting that back are fairly slender, I would say. Anyway, listen, we talk more about this. There's going to be plenty more to talk about, I'm sure. Good luck now, everybody. Bye.